Hello and welcome for a webinar on anterior triangle of the neck. Yesterday we have studied various triangles of the neck and today we will study anterior triangle of the neck. I told you that sternocleidomastoid muscle divides the quadrangle on the side of the neck into two triangles, anterior triangle and posterior triangle. You can see here. And it is in front of the sternocleidomastoid with apex directed downwards here and base directed upwards. This anterior triangle of the neck is located. So this pista color area is the anterior triangle of the neck here. Okay, you can see the apex is directed downwards and the base is directed upwards. So what are the boundaries of anterior triangle of the neck? Anteriorly, it is bounded by midline of the neck. So this is the midline of the neck. Okay. And posteriorly by the anterior border of sternocleidomastoid muscle. And superiorly by the lower margin of the body of mandible and a line joining from the angle of mandible to the mastoid process. Okay. So these are the main boundaries, and superior boundary is also called as a base because it is located upwards. Now what the roof of anterior triangle of contains? So roof means all this area over it. So you can say right starts from the skin, right from the skin. It is very easy to remember all this and write in exams. Many times this question is asked. That is why you take imagination into consideration and then write. Okay, everything you cannot do it by heart. So skin, of course you know the layers of the body. So skin, superficial fascia, which contains platysma muscle. It is a subcutaneous muscle, platysma. Okay, and the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. Or if you don't remember this investing layer, you can also write deep cervical fascia, because deep cervical fascia has got many entities. So that is why investing layer you can count for the roof of boundary of anterior triangle of the neck. Okay, here you can see a cross section, and here you can see the various layers of the uh, neck, right from the skin up to the vertebrae. Now what are the subdivisions of anterior triangle of neck? Yesterday also I told you that anterior triangle of neck is divided into four triangles. The anterior triangle is subdivided by the anterior and posterior bellies of digastric and superior belly of humoid. So there are three muscles required to divide this triangle into four subdivisions. So both the bellies of digastric muscle and superior belly of omoid muscle, because inferior belly of omoid muscle lies in the posterior triangle. That is why you have to remember these three muscles. And these three muscles divide anterior triangle into four smaller triangles. They are also called as subdivisions. Here you can see the subdivisions. Okay. First is submental because it lies up above. So it is called as submental, below the mentum. And lower three triangles are submandibular, carotid, and muscular. Out of which submandibular is also called as digastric. You can see here these four triangles in different four colors. Okay, yeah. Now we will take one by one all these subdivisions. That means all the four triangles, sub-triangles which are located in the anterior triangle. So when a question comes on anterior triangle, you have to write about anterior triangle boundaries and all that. Plus you have to write all the subdivisions, means all the sub-triangles. The submental triangle, it lies below the chin or mentum, okay, this portion. And the boundaries of submental triangles are: anteriorly it is bounded by the midline here, and laterally it is bounded by the anterior belly of digastric muscle. Okay, and then what comes? Base. So inferiorly body of the hyoid bone. So here in this diagram you can see submental triangles of both the sides. So this one is a midline, and this triangle is of right side and this triangle is of left side. So these are the three boundaries of this submandibular triangle. This is the anterior belly of digastric. Here there is a midline and below there is a base of a body of hyoid bone. And the floor of this muscle is formed by the mylohyoid muscle. Okay. Now what are the contents of submental triangle? Submental lymph nodes. So lymph node, there are lots of cervical lymph nodes groups. So this is a submental group of lymph node, and they receive lymph from the tip of the tongue. So anything happening to the tip of the tongue or infection you can call, it will lead to lymphadenitis in the submental triangle. You will get pain here. So that is the clinical significance of this submental triangle. Now we have to study side by side all the important muscles which we come across in the study of anterior triangle of the neck. So mylohyoid come first. Look at the muscle. It is a flat triangular muscle. You can see on one side, so it's a triangular. It's a triangular seat type muscle that supports the floor of the mouth and tongue. It forms the main part of the floor of the mouth. So from inside, if you see below the tongue, and if you press your finger, you'll find this muscle just below the sublingual gland, salivary gland. Now, origin of mylohyoid muscle is, it starts from mylo and ends at hyoid. Means origin is on mylo and inserts in a hyoid. So I told you yesterday also, mylo means mandible. So mylohyoid means mylohyoid line of the mandible. So there is a line on the mandible. If you study osteology of the mandible, you should know where is mylohyoid line. So from there it takes origin and gets inserted on the what do you call, fibrous raphe. So it's called a fibrous raphe, anterior fibers, and posterior fibers, they get inserted into the body of hyoid bone. So fibrous raphe, anterior fibers, and into the body of hyoid bone, posterior fibers. So there are two heads of insertion, and nerve supplies nerve to mylohyoid. Mylohyoid helps in elevation of the floor of the mouth, as in deglutition. So when you deglutate, I mean swallow, deglutition means swallow. When you do like this, the mandible, if the mandible is fixed, okay, it elevates the floor of the mouth, and if the hyoid bone is fixed, it depresses the mandible and opens the mouth. So it is both a way helping you for elevation and depression, depending upon which bone is fixed at that time. Okay. Now, submandibular triangle. I told you yesterday, again I told you in the morning, that submandibular triangle is also called as digastric, because both the bellies of digastric muscle form the boundaries of this triangle, and it is called submandibular because it lies below the mandible bone, mainly the body of mandible. Now let us see what are the boundaries of submandibular triangle. Anteriorly, it is bounded by anterior belly of digastric. It's very easy to remember. And posteriorly, it is bounded by the posterior belly of digastric, plus it is supported by stylohyoid muscle. This is another muscle, one of the suprahyoid muscles, and it is coming from styloid process of the temporal bone and getting inserted on the hyoid bone. So it is called as stylohyoid. Okay. And superiorly, submandibular triangle is bounded by the lower border of the body of mandible, which makes it a base also, so base of the triangle. And floor, like submental triangle, mylohyoid is also extended there, plus another muscle is also found on the floor, and that is hyoglossus. So the hyoglossus is one of the extrinsic muscles of the tongue. So glossus means tongue, hyo means hyoid bone. The muscle which goes to the tongue from hyoid bone. So origin is on the hyoid bone and insertion is in the tongue itself. So it is an extrinsic muscle of tongue. We have studied it during the study of muscles of tongue. So tongue has got 8 muscles, 4 extrinsic and 4 intrinsic. Out of 4 extrinsic, 1 we see here. Now what are the contents of submandibular triangle? So contents we divide into two parts. What are the contents in the anterior part of the triangle and what are the contents in the posterior part of the triangle? So the contents in the anterior part are submandibular salivary gland. This is big gland. Another is facial artery deep to the gland. The facial artery is a branch of external carotid artery. Then facial vein and group of submandibular lymph nodes. So mainly submandibular gland, submandibular lymph nodes and facial vessels. The lymph and vein, or say the lymph nodes and the vein are superficial to the gland. You can see in this diagram. Well, another structure, another two structures which are found in the anterior part are hypoglossal nerve, okay, 12th cranial nerve, and nerve and vessels to mylohyoid muscle. So mylohyoid muscle is supplied by some nerves and vessels. Those are found in this content. Okay. Now contents in the posterior part of the submandibular gland. One, carotid sheath and its contents. So carotid sheath and its content which come from the carotid triangle above, they are also found in the submandibular triangle, plus extension of the parotid gland downwards. So parotid gland is also quite big gland and it extends little downwards. So lower part of the parotid gland is also found in the submandibular gland. An important part in submandibular triangle is digastric muscle. Okay, digastric muscle has got two bellies, so it is called as gastric means bellies, anterior and posterior belly. So posterior belly arises from the mastoid process of temporal bone and inserted into the intermediate tendon because one belly ends with other belly, so it is called as intermediate tendon. Anterior belly is attached to the lower border of the mandible. Anterior belly is attached to the lower border of mandible. So mastoid process to mandible. You can see the ring here, mastoid process to the mandible. Okay, from here mastoid process to the mandible. You can see that. And insertion to the intermediate tendon. Both the tendon they get inserted with each other. It pierces the insertion of stylohyoid. It pierces, it passes through. You can see it is piercing the stylohyoid muscle here, and it binds to the hyoid bone by a loop of deep fascia. It is pulled by that fascia towards the hyoid bone downwards. Now posterior belly is supplied by a facial nerve and anterior belly is supplied by the nerve to mylohyoid muscle. Okay, these are the two nerves required for the supply to digastric muscle. What is the action of digastric? One is depression of the mandible. So करणे म्हणजे a depression. So this is done by digastric, and other is elevation of the hyoid bone. So hyoid bone, when you do a depression, hyoid bone gets elevated at the same time. Now stylohyoid muscle is another muscle we find in digastric triangle. It arises from the styloid process of temporal bone. It runs along the upper border of the posterior belly of digastric. So there are two of them. We can see the two of them forming the posterior boundary of digastric. An insertion is on the hyoid bone between body and greater cornu. You can see here hyoid bone and you can see the greater cornu here. Okay. Styloid muscle is supplied by facial nerve, 7th cranial nerve. And the action of styloid muscle is elevation of hyoid bone. So it elevates the hyoid bone. Another triangle we study in anterior triangle is carotid triangles. Very important triangle clinically as well as in exam short note is quite often asked on this triangle. It is behind the hyoid bone. So hyoid bone is above this thyroid cartilage here, and it behind that carotid triangle is located. Boundaries of the carotid triangle, in short, superiorly it is bounded by posterior belly of digastric muscle and inferiorly by the superior belly of omohyoid muscle. Okay, and posteriorly anterior border of sternomastoid muscle because it comes towards the lateral side. And floor is formed by thyroid, hyoglossus, middle and inferior constrictors of the pharynx. These are the constrictor muscles. So these are the muscles which are forming the floor of this triangle. Now the contents, main contents of carotid triangle you can see in this image. First is of course carotid sheath, which encloses the carotid vessels, and next is hypoglossal nerve and its descending branch, and the third one is accessory nerve. So 11th cranial nerve, 12th cranial nerve, and carotid sheath, and other contents are internal and external laryngeal nerves. So internal and external laryngeal nerves are the branches of vagus nerve, and deep cervical lymph nodes which are present within the carotid triangle. So that becomes the full content of what you call carotid triangle. But we have to also explain what this carotid sheath means. It is a condensation of deep cervical fascia. So it is a derivative of deep cervical fascia, okay, and it gets condensed to form a sheath around the vessels. It is attached to the base. It is attached to base of the skull superiorly and fuses with the pericardium inferiorly. So pericardium comes to the heart. So it is so long, okay, and it contains, of course, common carotid artery and internal carotid artery. Okay, so these are the two carotid vessels. External carotid artery falls outside the carotid sheath. It also contains internal jugular vein and vagus nerve main. Okay, and deep cervical lymph nodes. They form a chain along the internal jugular vein. Okay, in a clear diagram, you can see the chain of uh, lymph nodes along the line of internal jugular vein, IJV. Okay. Now, carotid sheath is crossed by glossopharyngeal. 9 cranial nerve crosses it. Carotid sheath crosses the glossopharyngeal nerve crosses the carotid sheath. Hypoglossal and spinal part of accessory also cross. Now last is muscular triangle. It lies below the hyoid bone. You can see hyoid bone here. And the boundaries of muscular triangle, the first is anteriorly muscular triangle is bounded by the midline and superiorly by the superior belly of omohyoid muscle. Okay. And inferiorly by the anterior border of sternocleidomastoid. Sternomastoid muscle means sternocleidomastoid. In short, sometimes it is also called as sternomastoid muscle. And the floor of this muscle is formed by the sternohyoid and sternothyroid. So these are the suprahyoid muscles. So you need to understand about infrahyoid and suprahyoid muscles also. Floor of the muscular triangle is formed by the thyroid gland, larynx, trachea, and esophagus. So larynx and trachea, sometimes they are also called as pharynx and esophagus. These are the structures which form the floor of muscular triangle. Now we have to understand the the group of muscles, infrahyoid and suprahyoid muscle. Infrahyoid means below the hyoid. Okay, so every muscle, if you see, it ends with hyoid. Okay, sternohyoid, thyrohyoid, omohyoid, and one muscle is sternothyroid. There is no hyoid here, but if you see that thyroid lies below the hyoid, so that is why this muscle comes in the group of infrahyoid muscles. Sometimes short note is asked on infrahyoid muscle. If you see origin and insertion wise of all these muscles, see sternohyoid and sternothyroid, they are originating from posterior surface of the manubrium sternum, and thyroid originate from the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage, and omohyoid inferior belly, it is origin from suprascapular ligament and the suprascapular notch, and the superior belly of omohyoid is intermediate tendon origin. Okay, and insertion of all these muscles, if you see sternohyoid and sternothyroid, they are inserted on the hyoid bone lower border and oblique line of the thyroid cartilage. Okay, thyrohyoid is inserting on the hyoid bone lower border, and insertion of omohyoid is on the hyoid bone lower border. So everything has to be on the lower body itself. So these are the original insertion of all these muscles, and nerve supply of all these muscles is ansa cervicalis, or ansa cervicalis is also called as ansa hypoglossai, and that is a loop Okay, it's a loop formed by the cervical 1, cervical 2, and cervical 3. You can see here this ansa cervicalis. Sometimes ansa cervicalis is also asked as a short note. So no supply is ansa cervicalis except thyroid, and thyroid muscle is supplied by the separate root of C1 through the hypoglossal nerve. In this diagram, you can see the hypoglossal nerve here. So there is a separate route for it. So ultimately it is C1, C2, C3, even though it is separate, but the nerve coming to the thyroid is hypoglossal nerve. Action of thyroid infrared muscles, I will try to understand in a short span of time. It stabilizes, or it's stabilization of the hyoid bone to make a base for the movements of the tongue. So tongue keeps on moving, and at that time the hyoid bone has to be stabilized, and these muscles do that. So while talking, chewing, swallowing, okay, assistance in the movements of the larynx in swallowing, for example, deglutition also you can say. And with this, my dear friends, we will end today's topic on anterior triangle of neck. And thanks a lot. If you have any questions, you can ask me. And next webinar will come with the posterior triangle of the neck. Any question? कोणाला क्या प्रश्न विचारायचा? Okay, thank you all and have a nice day, and see you back again on another day which will be announced very soon. Have a nice day and all the best for your studies. Thank you.